Juanita pays $15 per hour to rent a paddleboard. She can rent a wetsuit for $5 a day. Write and solve an equation to find the total amount Juanita spends in one day if she boards 4 hours and rents a wetsuit. So, anytime you're given a problem that involves sentences like this, a word problem that then asks you to write an equation, the first thing we want to do is we want to identify our variables. And identifying your variables just means name the variables that we're going to be using. So, what are the two things that we're counting in this problem? Well, one of the things that we're going to be counting is going to be the total cost. So total cost needs to be one of our variables because that's what the problem says. How much does it cost? And I can use any variable I want. So since it's cost, let's just call it C. Now the other variable, the thing that I'm going to end up substituting into my equation, is the number of hours that she is using this paddleboard. So let's say number of hours is going to be our second variable, and let's call that h. So I'm going to write an equation using C and h. Okay, so what is the total cost going to be? Well, the cost is going to equal the amount that it costs for the wetsuit, which she's just going to pay that cost one time. She's going to rent the wetsuit once, but then she's going to have to pay $15 for every hour she's on the paddleboard. Okay, so she has to pay $5 for the wetsuit plus she's going to pay $15 for every hour she's on the paddleboard. Now, you may be tempted to say, oh, well, it's 15 times 4. 15 times 4 is how we're going to solve the equation because it says she rents it for 4 hours. But when we write the equation, we're going to write it as 15 times h, 15 times the number of hours. This is our equation. The equation involves the variables. This is a very flexible equation because if later on we say, you know what, Juanita changed her mind, she's actually going to paddleboard for only 3 hours, we don't have to redo the equation. We just change the h from a 4 to a 3. However, in this problem, it does say that h is equal to 4. She's going to paddleboard for 4 hours. So we're going to have c equals 5 plus 15 times 4. Order of operations says to do the multiplication first. So 15 times 4 is going to give us 60. So 5 plus 60. And then the last thing we'll do is add the 60 and the 5 together, which is 65. 65 is a very good numerical answer, but let's write it in context. Juanita will spend $65 for 4 hours of boarding. So we wrote the equation from the information that we were given, and then after we wrote the equation, we used it to solve the question we were asking, which is, what is she going to pay for those 4 hours?